So hello and welcome back to another episode of Scriptcase by Jamie. And yes, you may be able to tell it's been a long day of recording videos for you guys. I hope you're enjoying them. So today's topic, we're going to continue off from where we were in the previous video pretty much. So you've just sketched up your database idea. You have an idea of what you want. You have an idea of the tables and so forth. So now what you want to do then is come into MySQL Workbench. If you don't have it installed, just check out the website. Go to Google or any other search engine there is and type in MySQL Workbench and you'll find it. Okay, download the version that you need for your operating system and install it. Now, once you have it installed and you're working with Scriptcase already, you can actually connect this to your local database, even your remote database, and you can manage your entire database from within this application. It's pretty cool. Okay, but we'll go there maybe in another video. So for now, what you want to do is you want to start off creating your database for your new project, right? So we'll come up here to File and then New Model. And then with a new model, what we can do is create a new diagram. Now, this is typically called MyDB like we have here, which is really bad. So you always want to make sure before you start off, come here, edit the schema and change the name of your database so that it reflects what you want. So in this case, we had started off, let me grab my baby over here again. And of course, I have to open up the database we had started, which was... Okay, so we had our database and we don't really want to call it MyDB. We have here products, company, clients, and so forth. So let's call this my company underscore products underscore DB. Okay, so with that then, when we then go ahead and extract our database, this will actually create the correct titled database for us. Okay, so just with that, it will make a lot of difference. And you can see the update here on the left hand side. That has now changed to company underscore products underscore DB. Okay, so with this, we can then go ahead and choose some of these objects over here on the left hand side. We have quite a few options here. We're just going to use a few of those. So we have here the option to place a new table. So I'm going to choose that and then place a new table just by clicking on here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 6 tables. So let me go ahead and add all of these 6 tables that we had previously. So 3, 5 and one more. There we go. Now for our first table, if I double click on that, I can then change the name here to my clients. So I'll call it clients underscore TBL. So I know it's the table. And then in here, if I double click again, it will then highlight and I can go ahead and edit that. And here I could leave that as ID clients underscore TBL. I'm going to remove the TBL and leave the ID clients because I want the first one to be the ID. Now remember, adding the clients to this, I will always know the ID that I'm looking at is for my clients because it says ID clients and not just ID. Okay, so I need to set this as auto increasing also, and that will also set the primary key and also the not null. Okay, now I could add a default expression, but of course for the ID, well, maybe not. You may want to use that for some of your options. Now, our next field, if I click there again, would then be the client name. Now, of course, you can specify first name, last name, however you like. And our next field would then maybe be the client address. Now, here for the varchar, if I double click on that, I can then change the selection to something else. If it's not varchar, I can choose date, I can choose integer, I can choose point, geometry, and other options there. The majority of those you will not more than likely want to use because some of them are for specific purposes. So in many cases, you may want to have 150 characters here. In some cases, you may want to have 250. Do maybe think about the length of that you want. I would think for a full name, 150 characters is more than enough. Now, for our address, now we could add 250 characters in here, or we could add that as maybe a medium text or a long text. So I'll choose medium text, and that will then just hold then the entire address with the country and everything else. I won't bother with any of those fields. I don't really care about that. All I want is my client name, where they live, and that's it. Of course, for your table, go ahead and make your own adjustments. Now I have then also the next table. So here I have then my company table. So I'll call that company underscore TBL. Now notice I'm always using lowercase, okay? And that is of course to avoid any conflicts with Scriptcase, with their own macros and so on. And again, I'm going ahead and directly adding ID company, and again, maybe the company name, right? So company underscore name, and then here I will adjust then here how many characters I want then for the company name, and that will again be 150. So again here, I could continue adding more fields. I'm not going to bother now because again, I'm just really showing you the point of this. So you can really just start off, you can take the time and add all of those data fields that you need to either store URLs, the status, and so forth. And talking about the status, always think about maybe having an extra table for your settings. Yeah, so I'll just call this table here straight away. I'll call this one settings. I could call it project settings or anything else that I like. I'll keep an ID in there and I'll have it auto increasing, and then I'll have my settings value, maybe my setting, and then underneath that maybe I'll have my setting value. Now I won't use setting because I'll use setting value. In fact, let me adjust this one here and let me choose that as option. So setting option and setting value, and I prefer to use setting underscore option because some words are reserved, okay? So you could use setting, but setting, it sounds like it's going to be a reserved word, option even, and value. So, let's not use those and give them alternative names. But of course, identifiable, which is important. Now here we have the varchar 150, and in fact, I will set that as 250. In fact, no, the option will leave as 150, but the value here, the value, I will have that as 250, okay? Because in some cases, you could have a super long API key or, a specific value for that option. Okay, so with that, we have a settings table. I'll just drag that out of the way. We have our companies table, we have our clients table, and then what I also want to do, remember our joining table, our reference or relationship table, should I say. Here, we want to then store our company underscore clients underscore TBL. Okay, so it's going to store here, of course, with again an auto increasing ID, and I can again reduce or adjust here the title for that, so it's not so long to type out. Remember, we also have a character limit when you're coding sometimes, or we're in development. You want to try and keep it short, not have 30-40 characters to type just for a value. It's insane. Okay, so here we have then our company, and in this field I don't actually want this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that. Now I have multiple options on how I want to store here the ID. Now I can manually add them in here, so I could type in here client ID clients and ID company. Okay, and with that, it would then avoid any conflicts that I may have later on, because as soon as I add them in here, well, of course, they are related. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to drag a relationship from here to the left-hand side. We have here the non-identifying relationship, so I can use this one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click that. And I'll say here, we have the clients table, and here the companies table. And of course, you may notice that now the ID clients has gone to the wrong table. So, we need to do that the other way around. So I'm going to click it again, and then click first the company clients table as our main table, and then choose the clients, okay? And then the ID from our ID clients is also added here into our company clients table. And I'll do the same again for our company, click there, and to enter our company. And again, I can come in here and also maybe adjust these titles, okay? And just like that, of course, it will be a little easier to manage and identify later on, because of course an ID clients here would be an ID clients here. And again, remember the terms, so maybe even identify that this is from the relationships table. Now, how you want to do that, that is really down to you. In some cases, you may just want to start _RL, so you know it's for the relationship, or whatever you like. That is again up to you. Okay, as long as this relationship between the two exists, then the ID clients and ID company will be added in here. It is not required when we add the clients. It is not required when we add the company. We add then the relationship between the two in a completely separate table. And this then also allows us to add hundreds of clients to one company, or maybe even hundreds of companies to one client. How cool is that? And of course, with that, it opens up more flexibility within your application. So we did have 2 or 3 other tables here to go. I think we will just very quickly add those. So we had here then also our products table, so products TBL, and again add in here our ID. Of course, we would add here, adjust that maybe, and add again the product name and all of those other identifying values that you want to place in there and store within your database. We have then also here, for instance, the category maybe we have a category there that we want to keep, and of course we could have that then as well, and in that case we would have in fact a completely different relationship. So let's actually go ahead and create a category table and have here an identifying ID as the category ID again, and I will add a category in here. Now the difference here is that the products is in fact related here to the category. So yeah, I'll click on the products table and then on the category table, and now our products will always have a category assigned to it, which of course makes a big difference, right? Makes our products have categories. Means we can organize it better, provide different data, as well as different statistics and so much more. Okay, so we have our products, we have our categories, and remember we had then also 2 other tables. That would be then our client products. Okay, and of course remove the Y from clients, and an auto increasing ID again. Now here I would add the relationship from the client products to the client, and then again from the client products to the product. And just like that, then we have the client ID in here as well as the products ID, and we always know then that this client purchased this product, and we can add it there as many times as we want. And of course, depending on our relationship here, remember we have just chosen a non-identifying relationship. So this may not be the exact relationship we want to use. Now it is important that when we actually establish these relationships that we have here within our tables, that they are in fact required, because as I said, in some cases that could actually cause issues. So to remove a relationship, I just need to click here on the line and click my delete key, and then choose delete, and that will then of course remove them from the table as we see here. So an alternative method would actually possibly maybe be better in this case, because it would allow us to add as many products as we want. It won't be adding some restrictions in there. So in this case we can add here the ID client maybe, and change that here to an integer, and then add here below this one then also the ID product. Okay, and of course there is a difference between how Scriptcase will manage this relationship. So for instance, with these relationships that we have hard-coded within the database, with those relationships built, Scriptcase will identify those and then create the applications accordingly, as well as all of the drop-downs and selects and so forth, which is pretty powerful. In this case, where we have our products table separate, we may need to build up that relationship and add also those dependencies to those forms. forms, and that is really something that you need to consider and think about when you actually develop your project. Okay, so I hope this video helps somebody out there and of course helps you with your database design. You know, the options and choices, there's quite a few of them. Really, only you know the best option there. Now, just one final thing here, just to be sure that you can actually use your database in the first place, is you come up here to File, go to Export, and then forward engineer SQL create. You can add a name or a title in here, and then the SQL script will be stored as a file. Do pay attention to your options here, because you can choose to drop the database, drop the entire schema, add the foreign keys, and all of these other options, they are available there. So if you already have an established database, then do pay attention to these. Otherwise, you can go next. You are choosing the export database tables that you have here. You can also apply your views in here, your routines, your triggers, and then of course choose to select them and export them all at the same time. Go next again, and there you go. You have your script. So you can either save this as another file, copy it to the clipboard, just select it all and copy it all as well, or of course use the stored or saved file that you now have with this script if you added a title previously. Okay, because if you did not add a title, then you will not have the script now. Okay, so with that, you will then be able to import that into your database, into MySQL, of course, and then start your new project within the Scriptcase development environment. Okay, so that is all for this video, and of course, I hope you have enjoyed it and it is helpful to somebody out there. And if not, just let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.